Keep singing, please. Father, we just thank you for another opportunity to be here in your house. We thank you for your grace and your mercy that has covered us and kept us. Father, we just simply asking that you would come into this place, that you would have your holy way. We're asking that you would remove us out of ourselves, Father God, that we would be able to receive your word. We'll be able to hear from you. We'll be able to let it manifest in our hearts, Father God, that we may take it with us as we leave this place, Father. We come this morning, Father God, with expectancy, Father God. We're expecting for you to do many things, Father God, but songwriter said, if you don't do anything else, you've already done enough, Father God, because we trust you, Father, for what you have done. We trust you for what your word says that you will do, Father God. So even when our flesh tells us not to trust you, Father God, something on the inside rises up and says, wasn't I there for you the last time? What wasn't I there for you the time before? And we can trust in you, Father God. We draw strength from you right now, Father God, from when the stress of the week gets to us, Father God, when our mind gets to wondering, Father God, when we feel like giving up. We trust in you, Father God, that you will be there in the midnight hour, that you will be there early in the morning, that you will be there in the midday, in the noonday, Father God. We're trusting you, Father God, in all these things, Father God. We give your name the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. In Jesus' mighty name, somebody say amen.
Amen.
Amen. If you have your Bibles, we're going to Matthew, the 26th chapter. Matthew 26, and we're going to start at verse 39. Matthew 26, starting at verse 39. When you have it, say amen. Amen. You're still looking, say hold on. Hold on. We holding on. Matthew 26. Verse 39. Everybody there? Amen. Amen. Let us read. Matthew verse 26, starting at verse 39 says, going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. Then he returned to his disciples and he found them sleeping. Could you men not keep watch with me for 1 hour? He asked Peter, watch and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. He went away a second time and he prayed, my Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done. When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and he went away once more and he prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to his disciples and he said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? We're going to stop right there. I want to talk to you very briefly this morning from the topic attitude adjustments. Attitude adjustments. Now, when we think about God, we can describe him in many ways. Amen? Amen. We can describe him as graceful, merciful, a loving God, a forgiving God. But one of the great attributes about God is that he's a selfless God. Selfless means that he is concerned about the needs of others more than he is himself. So now watch this. If we are the people of God, if we are Christians, we are Christ-like, we are followers after Christ, then that means that we too should have a selfless attitude. You can say amen right there. Because as Christians, we ought to be concerned about the needs of others more than we are ourselves. We ought to be. But here's a question. You don't have to answer this out loud. Answer yourself. Here's the question. Do we present a selfless attitude? Are we selfless in our witness? Are we selfless in our walk? Are we selfless as we present ourselves to the world as Christians? Are we selfless in the things that we do, concerned about the needs of others more than we are ourselves? See, there's a lot of attitudes in church. You can say amen. You ain't got to get mad, because you can go in any church in America. You can find a whole lot of attitudes, but you may not find selfless attitudes. You can find attitudes of folk mad at each other, mad about something that took place outside the church, ain't got absolutely nothing to do with the place of worship, but you can walk in and say good morning. They'll look at you funny. You can walk up to them and try to give them a hug, and they'll give you the little fake hug, the little, hey, how you doing, whatever. And you can find all kind of attitudes in church, but it's hard to find God-like attitudes in church. It's tough to say that you can go to the house of God, that you can go to the place of worship, the place where you find help, the place where you find encouragement, and you find every attitude except an attitude that is a reflection of God. You can get mad all you want to, but the truth is the truth. I need you to understand that we can find every attitude except a selfless attitude, because folk be mad at each other, mad at folk, and it ain't the people that suffer, but it's the people who need something. It's the people who are searching, the people who are expecting God to do a thing that end up suffering. How many times you invited people to church and the first thing come out of their mouth, oh, I don't do church. I don't deal with church folk. I ain't got time for that. Because people are suffering because of the attitudes that are presented by folk who say they Christian. The attitude that is presented by the folk who are supposed to be representing Christ, who's supposed to have the like mind of Christ, the same attitude as Christ. The attitude that is being presented is not that of selflessness. So what you have to understand is that the attitude that we represent, the attitude that you give to other folk, should be a representative of who you serve. Because if you say you serve God, you say you love God, you say you sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, you shout, run, fall all over the place, knock over every chair we got. But if you're not presenting a selfless attitude, you're not representing the person who you say you serve. So then if the attitude is not that of Christ, then who you serving? Oh, don't get mad now. Don't get mad. Because see, you got a lot of folk that say they love church. Say that they go, so I go to this church. I'm proud of my church. I love my pastor so-and-so. I love the building. I love all my folk. And this is that and other. But then they get out here in the word and act like everything but Christ. Yeah. You are a reflection of who you say you serve. You are a reflection of where you say you serve at. So now you're trying to hype up your ministry, so to speak, trying to get people to come, trying to get people to be involved. And I don't care how many times you're on TV. I don't care how many times you're on the radio. If you're not presenting a selfless attitude, ain't nobody trying to come up in there. Because you got a whole lot of folk in there. That don't mean that y'all presenting the attitude of Christ. That don't mean that you're representing him in the right way. Because you can say you love God, but if your attitude is something different, then you need an attitude adjustment. According to the scripture, the scripture says that we have been bought with a price. Therefore, if we have been bought with the price, then you don't belong to you no more. Hold on, watch this. If you've been bought with a price, the attitude that you represent, the attitude that you present to others, is not your attitude anymore. Well, at least it shouldn't be. Because if you've been bought with the price, you're supposed to take on the attributes of God. You're supposed to take on the characteristics of God. You're supposed to show that selfless love, that selfless attitude, being more concerned with the needs of others more than you are yourself. But see, we got a problem now because everybody want to be in the spotlight. We got a problem now because now everybody is concerned with their attitude instead of the attitude that God wants you to represent to everybody else. I'll give you an example. If you ever worked anywhere, you know that there's a thing called a professional attitude. There's a professional attitude that you have to use, or that you have to have, a certain demeanor that you have to have in the workplace. Watch this, let me break it down real good. Profession will require you to wear a certain uniform or dress code. The uniform or dress code is a representation of where you work, where you serve. Watch this. If your uniform or if your dress code is a representation of the profession that you are serving, if the profession that you are in, therefore, if I see you in jeans and boots, I'm assuming that you got something to do with construction. If I see you in a suit and tie or some sort of casual dress or skirt or something like that, I'm assuming you work in an office. So you can dress up the part, but see, there's still a thing called professional attitude, because you have to watch the way you talk. You have to watch the way you deal with people, because your professional attitude is a representation of the company. In the spiritual realm, your professional attitude, your spiritual attitude is a representation of who you represent. In the professional world, if you don't present yourself in a professional manner, it can result in termination. How many of these folks that say they saints, but they really ain't, need to be terminated? You say amen. It's all right. You can say amen. They ain't in here this morning. You can say amen. How many of these folks that you done ran into that said that they saints that you don't want to fire on the spot? How many of these folks that you see out in the world, some of them are friends, some of them are co-workers, and they say they love God, and you hear them walk around talking about the goodness of Jesus, and 5 minutes later you hear them talking about something that ain't got totally nothing to do with God, just killing their witness, just killing everything that God is trying to line up for them and you. And then people look at you and say, ain't you a Christian too? Ain't you connected? And you say, no, I'm not affiliated with them. But see, they're damaging the witness because what they're representing, what they're putting out there to the people who want to get connected to God, they're getting a misrepresentation. Their attitude is wrong. They have a bad attitude when it comes to kingdom business. Because when it comes to kingdom business, you have to have an attitude that is a reflection of Christ. Your attitude should complement the light that God has placed in you that should shine no matter where you are. Your attitude should let the world know that I am a servant of the Most High God. Your attitude should let people know that I am a light when I'm in a dark place. Your attitude should let people know that I am a guide to those who are lost. Your attitude should let people know that I come to serve with a humble attitude. I'm not prideful. I'm not boastful because I understand that the work that I do is not mine alone. Yes, sir. You have to understand that when it came to the attitude of Jesus, Jesus was preparing himself, in this particular scripture, preparing himself to serve. He was preparing himself for the cross. He was preparing himself to pay a debt that didn't even belong to him. He was preparing himself to take on a guilty verdict that had absolutely nothing to do with him. Selfless attitude. He cared about others more than he cared about himself. Because in his selfless attitude, this is what you have to understand in ministry. In a selfless attitude, sometimes you will conflict with yourself. Right. Sometimes you will conflict with your flesh. Because your flesh will tell you, why are you going to serve people that don't even care about you? Why are you going to serve somebody that won't even give you 5 minutes of their time? Why are you going to be selfless to somebody who's been selfish all their life? I need you to understand something. In verse 39, it says that when Jesus went a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and he prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not I will, but your will be done. You have to wonder if there was ever a way that I could get out of being selfless. Because in being selfless, that means I got to go through some things. And being selfless, that means I'm going to have to deal with some things. I'm going to have to struggle a little bit. See, but without the struggle, I can't get the end result that God wants to get. But if there is another way, sometimes you will conflict with yourself and say, God, if you will, just let me go an easier route. God, if you will, let me do something different because I don't really want to go through this if I don't have to. But you have to understand that in ministry, it ain't never been about you no way. The selfless attitude, the ministry, the ministers, because the scriptures say we are all able ministers, amen? It ain't got nothing to do with a title. Everybody is a minister. So in ministry, the ministers have to understand it ain't about you no way. It ain't got absolutely nothing to do with how you feel, how you want it to go, how you think it should go. It ain't got nothing to do with you no way. I want what's best for the people. I want what's best for the kingdom. It ain't got absolutely nothing to do with you. This is the reason why Jesus prayed 3 times. He was at conflict with his flesh. And he was trying to figure out if God could give him an easier route. But God didn't never answer him when he prayed. He went to God in prayer the first time, never got an answer. Went to God in prayer the second time, never got an answer. Went to God in prayer the third time, he didn't get an answer because guess what? It ain't about you. It ain't got absolutely nothing to do with your feelings. It ain't got absolutely nothing to do with what you think or how you feel. Because, see, we're in a situation now in ministry where ministers want the spotlight. But the problem is that people understand that when you're in the spotlight, you're the one that got to go through the most. You're the one that got to be tested, tried the most. And everybody want to be in the spotlight because it's about them. But the selfless attitude ain't got absolutely nothing to do with you. We in a position now where all the ministers want to be on TV or they want to be seen or they want their name to be out there in some kind of way, and then they don't understand when the test and the trial come. Because it looked like you in the blessed place when you in the spotlight. But you got to remember, Jesus was in the spotlight when he was on the cross. I got to go now. That's right. You have to understand that sacrifice is involved when you're doing ministry. Because ministry has never been about one particular person. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than an individual. We need to adjust our attitude. We have to adjust our approach. Because sometimes it's going to get to the point to where ministry is discouraging. You can say amen, because it's going to get to the point to where you get in ministry and folk ain't going to clap. folk ain't gonna amen like you want them to. And see, we'll get to the place to where we'll get so excited as ministers to where we always need somebody to amen preacher. Right. You better preach. And when we don't get that, ministry becomes discouraging. Because folk feel like if people are not responding, they're not getting it. But remember, ministry ain't never been about you. Amen. It ain't never been about one individual, because God will speak a word in a room of 100 people and it'll be for one individual person. But if you are in your feelings and you don't get out of yourself, you trying to pump folk up to shout, pump folk up to run around the building, pump folk up to give $20 at the altar, and you will miss the opportunity to minister to one person when God has already delivered a word for that individual person at that individual time, and you'll miss it because you're trying to be me.
Lord have mercy.
Trying to show out for me. But not my will, but your will. I got to go now. I need you to understand that ministry is bigger than one person. Sometimes ministry can be discouraging, and we don't want to push forward in ministry. Because we feel like if we don't get the response from the people, we feel like if folks are not with us, if folks are not acknowledging us individually, that ministry is not going forward. But sometimes folk can say nothing and get the most out of ministry. It's been time when I couldn't open my mouth to say nothing because the spirit of conviction was slapping me upside the head. I couldn't wave a hand. I couldn't do nothing because the spirit of conviction was just slapping me. Don't you hear what the man is saying to you? Don't you hear what the woman of God is saying to you? And if you don't get that response, if I was in my feelings, if folk didn't respond, I'd try to turn the sermon another way. But God said, this is what I want you to say.
Yes, God.
This is what I want you to do. Come on here, Jesus in the garden praying. If this cup can pass me, God said, I ain't saying nothing because it ain't passing from you. Yeah. I need you to do this because guess what? It ain't about you. Yes. I know you didn't do this. I know you're not guilty, Jesus, but this ain't about you. An entire world's salvation depends on your actions. Therefore, I'm not going to answer you. You can pray all you want to. You can cry. You can weep. You can go get the disciples. They sleeping. I don't care. You can do whatever you got to do, but I ain't letting this cup pass from you. Because it ain't about you. Understand this. Your walk ain't got nothing to do with you. You trying to figure out why I got to be holy when folk keep cussing me out. Why I got to keep my mouth closed when folk keep treating me any kind of way. Why I can't show out one time? Why I can't just go crazy one time? Why I can't go ham one time? Ain't about you. Somebody is watching you. Somebody's salvation depends on your response. Because that one time you cuss your boss out, you just turned somebody from the faith. That one time you get out of the spirit of God and allow your flesh to take over, you just turn 2-3 people away from the faith. Because folk are watching you. They watching you at your desk when you open your Bible, put your little headphones on, singing your little songs, praising God, waving your hands, got your little fish on the back of the car, and all this stuff. People are watching you. And the first time you nut up, you're going to turn somebody away from the faith. It ain't never been about you. Ministry is discouraging at times. But you got to learn how to push forward. Because it feels like nobody is with you. But the attitude has to be adjusted and understand that God is in control of every purpose in ministry. There is a purpose for every individual. There is a call for every individual. And sometimes you're going to have to go forward if you got to go by yourself. Let me break it down for you. Verse 36 says it like this. It says, then Jesus went with his disciples. He was with somebody. It was a group of them. To a place called Gethsemane. And he said to them, sit here while I go over here and pray. Sometimes you're going to show up with folk that seem like they with you. That seem like you on the same page. Seems like we got the same agenda. We all got a mindset for Christ. We all finna go do ministry. We going forward. No matter what. We going to praise God. We going to do what we need to do. But then there's going to come a point to where you're going to have to go forward. And everybody else got to stay behind. Because the attitude has to be adjusted to understand that I got to be about my Father's business. Even if everybody else go to sleep. Even if everybody who's supposed to be with me starts sleeping on the ministry, the purpose that God has given me, I got to go forward. I got to continue, because in order for people to be set free, in order for people to be redeemed, in order for people to be delivered from a sin-sick bound in this world, Jesus had to go forth even when it hurt. Even when he had to suffer, even when he had to lay there, stand there and take it by himself, Jesus had to go forth when everybody else went to sleep. We got to adjust our attitude to understand that no matter what, sometimes you got to go by yourself. I need you to understand, because some folk are under the impression that if people don't go with me or if people don't respond with me, that ministry ain't going forth. Not true. I remember when I turned my life over to Christ, everybody was at the altar last Sunday. But that Sunday, it was just, ain't nobody coming up this Sunday. Because the preaching was good, the word was good, and last Sunday, everybody ran to the altar. They was putting money on the altar, they was falling down, they was crying. And this Sunday, when I decided to come, it's crickets. Just me, by myself. Jesus went to pray. He said, I'm going to talk to Daddy because I don't really want to go through this by myself. So when Jesus went forth, and when he didn't get an answer, he went back to find the boys asleep. Well, I got to go back by myself again. And then when he came back, he said, oh, you're still sleeping. Because see, here's the thing. We get under the impression that if folks start sleeping on ministry, that our purpose should go forward. But remember, every individual has a purpose in ministry. And sometimes your purpose is not everybody else's purpose. Right. Watch this. It's easy for folk to go to sleep when it's not their assignment.
That's right. That's right.
It's easy for folk to lay down and take a nap when it ain't their assignment. Yes, because the thing about ministry, the bulk of ministry is done behind closed doors. Folk don't see you studying your word.
That's right.
Folk don't see you praying, laying on your face. Folk don't see you when you're going through. Right. They see you in the after. They see you on Sunday, but they don't know what went through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all day, Friday, Saturday. They don't know what went through this morning before you got here. That's right. People see you after the fact. They don't see you, Jesus, when you praying by yourself because they don't want to sleep because this ain't their assignment. That's right. They don't understand that what you getting ready to go through ain't nothing pretty. Right. I heard this on the radio and it was awesome. I said, man, about time somebody said something. They was talking about the Easter season. Okay, let's go ahead and correct that. It's the resurrection season. We know the word. We've been brainwashed to say Easter, whatever. Okay, so they were saying the resurrection season ain't as pretty as we make it out to be. Because we plan out for a pretty suit. On Easter, I already got mine laid out. We plan out for a haircut and a hairdo and pretty shoes on Easter. They got a little basket and stuff for the kids and they make it all pretty. But the resurrection season, this right here, what Jesus was getting ready to go through, wasn't anything pretty about this. There was a reason why he was in torment. He said, I'm in sorrow in my prayer because I'm to the point of death because this ain't about to be pretty for me. What I'm getting ready to go through ain't about to be pretty. But listen, the boys ain't got to go through it so they can take a nap. I ain't trying to take a nap because I know what's going to happen after this. I know who's coming for me. I know they coming to arrest me. I know they coming to beat me. I know they coming to kill me. Because guess what? This ain't about me. So since it ain't about me, the beating that I'm getting ready to get ain't got nothing to do with me. The beating that I'm taking is for everybody else. If the beating was for one person, I might could deal with it. But because the beating is for so many people, I got to take everybody's beating at one time. What I'm getting ready to go through ain't nothing pretty about this. Ain't nothing worth sleeping over about this. When you worried about something, when you stressing over something, the last thing on your mind is sleep. Folks say, oh, just don't worry about it. Take a nap. We'll deal with it in the morning. You a lie. I couldn't sleep if I wanted to because I understand what I'm getting ready to go through. And ain't nothing pretty about what Jesus was getting ready to go through. But he had to go forward in ministry, and he had to do it if he had to do it all by himself. I'm going forward in prayer. I'm going forward to talk to Daddy because I'm trying to find another way because the path that he's laid out for me, it's going to be some hardships. The path that he's laid out for me, it's going to be some sleepless nights. The path that he's laid out for me, folk don't dislike me. Folk don't seek to kill me. Folk don't persecute me. The path that he's laid out, I got to go talk to Daddy. If this cup can pass from me, please, but it's not my will. Let your will be done. But I need you to understand something. There's strength in the brethren. There's strength in the group. But as the song said, you are my strength. Because when I separate from the brothers who done went to sleep, I ain't got nobody else to depend on but God. I ain't nobody else that can see me through this but God. If I allow my flesh to take over, I'm giving up. I'm throwing in the towel. First lick they pass by, it's over. Done. Giving up. They say all you got to do is say that you're not him. Say that you're not the Christ. Say that you're not the one that they talking about. And we'll let this crucifixion thing slide. We'll let you go. Can't do that. Because it ain't about me. Everybody else's salvation is dependent on my response. If it was up to me and my flesh, the first time they brought out the cat of nine tails, okay, I give up. Done. Whatever you want me to do, I give up. But he couldn't do that. When he could have called legions of angels to take him off the cross, he said, not a month, I got to go now. Because it ain't got nothing to do with me. When I could fuss and cuss and do everything that I want to do and my flesh is telling me to do, I got to keep my mouth closed because this ain't about me. I done already told everybody on the job that I'm a pastor. Oh, the pastor cutting up today, ain't he? Everybody's watching my response. At the cross, what were they doing? Watching his response. If you are the Christ, come on down then with your bad stuff. Watching his response. Father, forgive them. Because they know watching your ministry is on display. And everybody want to be about them. Everybody want to be on display. But don't nobody want to be on the cross.
Say that.
Everybody want to be on display. Everybody want to be in the pulpit. You don't understand. Pulpit is a cross.
Yes, it is. Yes, God.
Everybody want the title. Everybody want to be out front. But don't nobody want the cross.
Lord have mercy.
Can't have the title. Can't have the spotlight if you're not willing to shut your mouth.
Lord have mercy.
And take the punishment for somebody else.
Yeah, Lord have
if you ain't willing to get beat for somebody else. If you're not willing to have a selfless attitude.
Lord have mercy.
Attitude, adjust your attitude and understand that this ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yes, God.
It's all about the ministry.
Yeah.
Understand. Before you write people off, before you turn your back on people, before you turn your nose up at them, you better understand that Jesus ain't turning his back on you. He ain't turned his nose up at you. He ain't let you down. He didn't leave the cross because he understood that he needed to go through it for you. You have to change your attitude. You have to adjust your attitude and understand that when you have a selfless attitude, the folk that you're being selfless for, sometimes they don't even want your help.
Yep.
But again, it ain't about you. Because my flesh would say, well, I ain't going to put up with this. I ain't going to deal with these people. They looking at me, treat me all any kind of way. I ain't going to deal with this. But the ministry must go forward, even if your flesh is telling you no. Even if your flesh is saying, don't witness no more. Don't deal with these people no more. Forget all this stuff because folk don't want your help no way. But guess what? We didn't want Jesus' help, but he still went to the cross for us.
Yes,
we didn't acknowledge him. We didn't pray to him like we should. We didn't trust him like he should. But the cross was still in effect for us. Because when we got in our right mind and we came to the realization that somebody had to pay a debt that we could not pay. When we got to the point where we realized if it had not been for the blood of Jesus, I would not have any type of connection with God.
Yes, God.
Because I am sinful, I'm dirty, I'm filthy, and I can't go to God for myself. But because of the blood that cleanses me,
yes, God.
I have a relationship with God now. The selfless attitude of Jesus who left heaven and his innocent place came down and took on a guilty verdict for people who didn't even want nothing to do with it.
Lord have mercy.
And if folks get mad at you when you say, well, you know he went to the cross because of us. I ain't had nothing to do with it. Yeah, yes, you did. We all did.
That's right.
Because guess what? It ain't about him. He did it for us. Now, how many of us are selfless enough as Christians to have more concern for the needs of others than ourselves? Don't answer that. Because every church in America got them. They call themselves saints, but they really ain't. They really the folk that just all about them. Got an assigned seat in a church. Got an assigned seat. You can't sit here. I'm deacon such and such and this, that, and another. I sit every Sunday, whatever. I'm just trying to get my need met.
Yes.
And if I'm trying to get my need met, the spirit of discernment ought to work in you, deacon, pastor, whatever your title is, and let you know that there's something wrong with me. I'm hurting. Get out your feelings about this seat and help me.
Yes, God. Right.
Selfless attitude. How many of us ride by folk every day? Don't even look him in the eye. Folk on your job hurting. Don't even look him in the eye. Folk inboxing you. Hey, how you doing? You got an attitude about something. Don't even respond. I'm guilty. I had to start back responding. Hey, how are you doing? Because I'm mad about something you did 10 years ago. And I won't even respond. I don't even know that you're crying out for help because you just say, hey, how you doing? But hey, how you doing? So, well, can you pray for me? I've been, well, I'm all right. I ain't as good as I could be. Well, what's going on? And then that opens the door for ministry. And now we upset because, man, they texting me all the time. I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for that. They crying out. Need help. How many folk came crying out to Jesus? And he stopped everything
Yes. Every time.
to help one.
Yes.
Yep.
Multitude of people, everybody cried around one lady with an issue of blood. Stop everything. Hold up. Somebody touch me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold, daughter. Man came crying to Jesus. My daughter said, stop everything. I ain't even going. I'm just going to send the word. Heal. Man come crying to Jesus. My child is sick. Stop everything. I'm going to your house. How many of us too busy to be selfless? How many of us got too much of an agenda
Lord have mercy.
to be selfless? And then you get mad when folks say, you know them church folks got attitude. Them Christians got attitude. That's why I don't do church. I ain't got time for church. Got time for no attitude. I got time for these people. Got time for that mess. Because our attitude is wrong.
Yeah.
Our attitude is a reflection of who we serve.
That's right.
And if your attitude don't reflect Christ, get mad all you want to. Get thee behind me, Satan.
Right.
Because if you ain't reflecting Christ, who you reflecting?
That's right.
If you ain't serving Christ, who you serving?
Yep.
Your attitude needs to be, has to be adjusted.
Yes, God.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen.